Millions of soldiers have marched to war. Thousands of generals commanded them. Time has erased almost every single one. Yet a select few names survive: Alexander, Hannibal, Caesar, Genghis Khan, Napoleon. Centuries after their deaths, military academies still study their campaigns, and their enemies' descendants still remember the fear they inspired. What exactly separated these men from the thousands of highly competent, yet entirely forgotten battlefield commanders? The record suggests a common thread, a specific psychological vision. These leaders identified opportunities where others saw only obstacles, making choices that redrew maps and shifted the path of entire civilizations. This map shows the known ancient world, a landscape of massive distances and political collapse. Alexander inherited a precarious position in Macedon, while Genghis Khan was born into the warring clans of the steppes. Neither was guaranteed to survive, let alone conquer. Centuries later, Napoleon Bonaparte faced a similarly chaotic environment. He accelerated his rise by stepping directly into the bloody political vacuum left behind by the French Revolution. Chaos acts as a necessary catalyst. Where ordinary leaders saw fractured, unstable societies as dangerous obstacles, these commanders saw the exact raw materials required to build massive, enduring empires. To conquer on a massive scale, a commander must execute strategies that their enemies mathematically or physically calculate to be impossible. Hannibal Barca weaponized this concept against Rome. Instead of attacking where the Republic expected, he marched tens of thousands of soldiers, along with massive war elephants, straight over the treacherous peaks of the Alps. This single, brutal maneuver shattered the illusion of an invincible Rome, injecting pure psychological terror deep into Italy. Genghis Khan utilized relentless speed. His Mongol cavalry overwhelmed defenders rapidly, striking before opposing armies could even form. Physical combat was often a secondary tool. Their true genius lay in leveraging extreme mobility and impossible logistics to break an enemy's psychological will entirely, long before the first swords ever clashed. But battlefield victories alone cannot sustain a legacy. To leave a permanent mark on history, a conqueror must eventually master the political arena. Julius Caesar demonstrated extraordinary operational skill during his decade-long conquest of Gaul. Fighting hostile tribes across brutal, unpredictable terrain, he proved his total military competence and secured the absolute loyalty of his legions. He then weaponized that success. Caesar continuously sent battle reports back to Rome, turning his distant military victories into highly effective political propaganda. His troops revered him, and the Roman public celebrated him as a hero. Eventually, he reached a terrifying tipping point. Caesar accumulated so much wealth, military might, and public adulation that his mere existence threatened the structural integrity of the Roman Republic. This is the ultimate evolution of the military leader. They cease to be a servant of the state and instead become the state itself, completely erasing the line between one man's personal ambition and a nation's identity. Yet there is a paradox built into this kind of military genius. The relentless, obsessive ambition required to conquer the world almost always blinds the conqueror to their own critical vulnerabilities. This diagram shows a hard strategic reality. The isolated dots represent Hannibal's brilliant tactical victories in Italy. But watch the pulsing web around them. That is Rome's massive logistical network. Hannibal could destroy armies, but he could not outrun superior Roman supply lines, proving that tactical genius eventually bows to strategic math. For Caesar, his total mastery of the political state proved just as fatal. By dissolving the Republic to hold absolute power, he turned himself into an inescapable target, leading directly to his assassination on the Senate floor. And Napoleon's supreme confidence in his own speed and military doctrine caused his ruin. He expected a rapid surrender in Russia, but the freezing winter and a scorched earth retreat turned his greatest strengths into his most fatal flaws. The tragedy is structural. The exact psychological traits that propel a commander to greatness, unyielding boldness, supreme confidence, and a refusal to compromise, are the exact traits designed to destroy them the moment they run out of enemies to fight. Today, their physical empires have vanished. Their loyal armies have long since disappeared into dust, and the battlefields they soaked in blood are now nothing more than silent, overgrown ruins. If their conquests were ultimately erased, why do modern military academies and global leaders continue to study their decisions with such obsessive focus? Because warfare and leadership are human endeavors. The weapons evolve, the technology advances, but human psychology, the mechanics of fear, and the crushing burden of making decisions under extreme pressure remain exactly the same. These 5 men acted as architects of history, immortal symbols of the world-altering impact a single visionary individual can have on human events.